All right, let's jump right in. If you have an ICICI Bank account, you know the feeling. You've spent hours, maybe even days, just copying and pasting your transaction data from a PDF statement into Excel. Well, today, we're looking at a tool that was built to make that exact frustration just disappear.
So here's the plan. We're going to start by talking about the problem itself, that headache we all know. Then we'll introduce the solution, Bank2Excel. We'll look at the pricing, walk you through exactly how to get started, and wrap up with the fine print so you know all the details.
First things first, let's talk about the problem. And honestly, if you're trying to keep track of your finances or you're running a small business, this is a headache you know all too well.
Right? Does this just hit home? You download that statement, you're ready to get your books in order, and bam! Suddenly, you're in a full-on wrestling match with a PDF that just will not cooperate. It's cluttered, it's messy, and it feels like it's designed to make your life difficult. And this slide just says it all. You've got the before, which is that tedious, cluttered, totally error-prone process of manually copying everything. And then you have the after, which is what we're all aiming for. An instant, clean, and accurate Excel file that's actually ready to use. Okay, so we've all agreed that the headache is real. Now, let's talk about the painkiller. Let's look at the solution, Bank2Excel, and see how it actually manages to get you that clean, simple result.
So what is Bank2Excel? Well, technically, it's a software as a service, or SaaS, web app. But here's what that really means for you. There is nothing to install. It's just a website that was built to do one thing and one thing only, to finally fix your messy ICICI bank statements.
So how does it do it? The system is smart. It reads your PDF and knows what the actual transaction data is, and it just strips away all the junk. You know, the headers, the footers, the page numbers, all of it. What you're left with is a perfect structured Excel file that's ready for your accounting, your analysis, whatever you need. And the best part, you can do it all from your laptop or even your phone.
All right, so a tool that saves you this much time has got to be worth something, right? But what does it actually cost? Let's break down the plans and see where the real value is.
This chart makes it super clear. If you go with the weekly plan, you're looking at 500 rupees a week. But look what happens when you switch to the monthly plan. That cost gets cut in half, down to 250 a week. And if you go for the yearly plan, it drops to just over 100 rupees. It's pretty obvious. The longer you sign up for, the more you save.
And here are those same numbers laid out in a table. The monthly plan saves you a whopping 50%, but the yearly plan is the real game changer with a 77% savings compared to paying week by week. It's also important to note that all these prices include taxes, and the payments are all handled securely through UPI.
So, let's say you've picked a plan that works for you. How do you get going? Well, you'll be happy to know that the sign-up process is just as simple and straightforward as the tool itself. It really is just 3 simple steps. First, pick your plan, weekly, monthly, or yearly. Second, you make a quick, secure payment using UPI. And third, well, that's it. You're done. Your access is immediately linked to your email address, and you can start converting statements right away.
All right, let's move on to a really important part, the fine print. To trust any service, you've got to know the rules of the road. So let's get into the key terms so you know exactly what you're signing up for.
The fair usage policy is built on trust, and it's super simple. First, you have to use a valid UPI transaction ID for payment. Pretty straightforward. Second, your subscription, your registered email, can be used on up to 2 devices, like your laptop and your phone. Now, this is a big one to be aware of before you subscribe. The service has a strict no refund policy. So if you run into a technical problem or a file won't convert, you're directed to contact their support team for help. But it's important to note that they don't provide cash refunds.
And of course, let's talk data privacy. They're very open about what they store: your email, device ID, name, city, and mobile number. And they make a firm promise: your personal data is kept secure and is never, ever shared with any third parties.
You know, after all the features and the legal terms, you see this. And I think this is such a great touch. It's a reminder that this isn't some big faceless corporation. Bank2Excel was built by a real person, Vinay Kumar, probably because he was just as frustrated as the rest of us.
And that really brings us to the final, most important question. The real value of a tool like this isn't just about getting a clean spreadsheet. It's about the time, the hours that it gives back to you every single month. So you have to ask yourself, what could you do with that time? What bigger things could you focus on now that you're not wrestling with PDFs? That's really what this is all about.